Yeah, that team meeting worked out really well, didn't it? Now, you won the last two. 21 runs in the last 2 games. 2 games, and you scored more runs in 2 games than you did in your previous 8. You play 1 game, and you score more runs in 1 game than you did in your previous 8. You almost, in 2 games, tied the amount of runs that you scored in the previous 10. Let's not forget they beat Pittsburgh 5-3 and 3-1 in 2 games on Tuesday and Wednesday of the 7th and the 8th of June. They come home and score 10 runs in the first 8 games and then score 21 runs in the last 2. By my math, 5 and 3 is 8. Sorry, yeah, 5 and 3 is 8. They scored 11 runs in the first 8 games. 5 and 3 is 8 plus 11, that's 19. You scored more runs in 2 games than you did in your last 10. What's the cause of all this? What's the cause of this offensive explosion in the last 2 games? You could say it's the players only meeting, or you could say it's Riley Greene. Now we'll get to Riley Greene. Because he came up on Saturday, went 2 for 3 with 2 walks. First Tigers rookie to reach base all 4 times in his major league debut since Scott Livingstone in 1991. I really hope his career isn't as inauspicious as Scott Livingstone's was. One can dream. I really don't think it's going to be that bad. He's too good of a player. You don't get called up at age 21 when you were drafted 4 years ago. Nope, 3 years ago. Sorry, 2019. When you were drafted 3 years ago and haven't even had a full season at one minor league stop. Let's not forget, Riley Greene in 2019 played some rookie ball, went to 2 different leagues in rookie ball, and then came up and played at Class A West Michigan. Then last year, because he was at the alt site in 2020, so in 2021, he started at AA, finished at AAA, then got hurt and was at AAA this year before they called him up. He would have made the opening day roster. And you know what? It's very probable that the Tigers' record would look a little bit better. It's very probable that the Tigers' offense would be a little bit better. Because let's face it, Riley Greene, number one, lengthens this offense, but also he takes a lot of pressure off of Spencer Torkelson. For whatever reason, Spencer Torkelson has just been absolutely abominable. Riley Greene comes up. In the last 2 games, Spencer Torkelson's had 2 multi-hit games. He had a double and a single on Saturday, and he had 2 singles yesterday. What else does Riley Greene add to this Tigers offense? Plate discipline. Robbie Grossman is all of a sudden seeing more pitches. Now, you're not going to get people like Jonathan Scope and Victor Reyes and Harold Castro, who bruised his knee, by the way, so we'll see where that goes. You're not going to get players like that or like Miguel Cabrera to start looking at to start seeing more pitches and being more patient at the plate. Robbie Grossman, for whatever reason, is starting to see more pitches, and he's hit 2 homers in his last 2 games. Tucker Barnhart is actually starting to see more pitches. So maybe this is contagious, and maybe the Tigers' offense finally figures it out because of Riley Green. Maybe Spencer Torkelson starts to hit better. Maybe Spencer Torkelson's power comes back. He's got 4 homers. He should have 14 by now. But he's just been awful at the plate. Javi Baez even drew a walk on Saturday. So maybe he starts to snap out of it. Javi Baez drew a walk and hit a homer on Saturday. So yeah, maybe he starts to snap out of it. The problem with Riley Green coming up is as follows. Right now, your outfielders are Riley Green, Willie Castro, Robbie Grossman, Victor Reyes, and occasionally Cody Clemens. And if they're in a real pinch, Eric Haas. Jeimer Candelario is coming back tonight. So Cody Clemens is going to lose playing time there. He's not going to play very much in the outfield. If he does, it's going to be on spot starts. You've still got Daz Cameron and Austin Meadows on the COVID list. Austin Meadows went on the COVID list on Friday. That's what prompted Riley Green's call-up. He tested positive Friday after showing symptoms on Thursday. Now, one of them is going to come back. My guess is it's going to be Austin Meadows because his service time, if the service time thing is what's caused Drew Hutchison to have to get DFA'd, you can bet they're not going to DFA Austin Meadows. So who's the odd man out in the outfield now? Is it Willie Castro or is it Daz Cameron? Both of them can play a decent center field. Daz Cameron's a right-handed hitter only. Willie Castro's a switch hitter. AJ Hinch loves versatile players. So it's very probable because Willie Castro hasn't played any infield this year, but he can. He's sort of the opposite of Cody Clemens. They're turning Willie Castro into an outfielder. He started out as a shortstop. When Detroit traded Leonys Martin to Cleveland and picked up Willie Castro, they picked him up as a shortstop. So now the question is, do you keep that versatility, albeit a defensive liability at short, but he can play some second base, he can play some third base. He's a switch hitter. Do you keep that versatility, or do you give Daz Cameron a chance? Somebody's going to go down. Who's it going to be? How long is Cody Clemens going to stay up here? Or are they going to say, you know what, Riley? We liked our outfield before. We're going to send you back down because we think you might need a little bit more work. If they do that, and I wouldn't put it past Al Avila. Al Avila and Chris Ilitch remind me of watching a Mickey Mouse and Goofy adventure, and you can pick whichever one you want for who's who. So as far as who comes who comes back and who goes down, I honestly don't know. My money is on Austin on Daz Cameron. Because then your outfield is Victor Reyes, Robbie Grossman, Austin Meadows, and Riley Green, with Willie Castro providing infield/outfield play. Do you send both Cameron and Castro down and leave Clemens up here? Left-handed bat, plays some third base, plays some second, plays some left field, plays some right. Where do you go with this? Because they have to have 13 position players and they have to have 13 pitchers. 5 of those 13 are going to be starters. They don't need a 5th starter right now because they're starting a 10-day, 8-game, 3-city road trip this week. They're starting it tonight in Boston. They got 3 against Boston. Then they fly to Arizona, have 3 against Arizona, and then they've got 2 against San Francisco. And then they come home next week. A homestand next week, which includes a doubleheader against the Guardians on the 4th. Then they've got another doubleheader on the 11th in Kansas City against the Royals. So they're going to need that 5th starter at that point. So the question is Riley Green here to stay, even though he didn't... Look, to me, he shouldn't have lost his job because of injury. And I won't say that he has lost his job, but if Detroit decides to send him back to the minors, that's losing his job because of injury. He was slated to make the opening day roster. It's not his fault that he broke his foot. Dude fouled off a Garrett Cole pitch, broke his foot, and then the very next pitch hits a triple to center field in Florida. A triple on a broken foot. I'm sorry. But that's the type of players that the Tigers need now. Don't send him back to the minors. He should be here on the 26-man and stay here. You need to clear a roster spot for him? Go ahead. Send somebody down, DFA somebody, do what you got to do to make sure that he's not only on the 40-man, but he's on the 26-man. Because this is where he's supposed to be. And if he makes Spencer Torkelson a better hitter, this is definitely where he needs to be. Oh, well, Torkelson was hitting just fine in West Michigan. Yeah. Class A advanced versus the major leagues. Class A advanced, everybody's his age. Maybe a little older. Major leagues, Miguel Cabrera's 39. Alex Faedo, the oldest member of the starting rotation right now, is 26. Tarek Skubal, who, by the way, has had 2 absolutely atrocious starts in a row, is in his early 20s. Spencer Torkelson is 22. He's young. Riley Green is his own age. Him and Riley Green are buddies. He makes Spencer Torkelson. They both make each other a lot more comfortable in that clubhouse. And these guys are the guys that you're going to build on. You're not building on Miguel Cabrera. You're not building on Jonathan Scope. You're not building on Harold Castro. I'll even say you're not building on Robbie Grossman. You're not even building on Austin Meadows. You're building on Spencer Torkelson, Alex Faedo, Bo Brisky, Tarek Skubal, those younger pitchers, Alex Lang, Kyle Funkhauser when he comes back. You're building on those guys. Jason Foley. Those are the ones that are going to make this team better next year, 2024, 2025. Robbie Grossman won't be here next year. Robbie Grossman may not even be here on August 3rd. Sure, you got 2 or 3 more years of control of Austin Meadows. Hopefully his brother Parker comes up and they can actually play in a game together. That'll be interesting. I'll even say Victor Reyes doesn't stick around for 2 or 3 more years. The guys you're building on are Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Bo Brisky, Alex Faedo, Joey Wentz when he comes back, Casey Mize when he comes back. Tarek Skubal, Matt Manning when he comes back. Probably Jake Rogers. I don't see Tucker Barnhart signing more than a 2 or 3 year deal. Ryan Kreidler when he comes up. Jamer Candelario probably isn't going to be around for too much longer in Detroit. Javi Baez has only signed a 6-year deal and he can opt out after next year. Eduardo Rodriguez isn't even with the team. And he can opt out after next year. To be fair to Eduardo Rodriguez, he's going through some marital issues apparently, and we all wish him the best. We really hope things work out for him. That is tough stuff to have to deal with, especially in the grind of a Major League Baseball season. Who knows when he comes back? And you know what? Take all the time you need. Because that's a situation that has to be resolved in order for you to be right mentally. I get it. I have no qualms with Eduardo Rodriguez taking time off. But my point still remains. Spencer Torkelson and Riley Green are close. The other guys in the clubhouse are older. Spencer Torkelson didn't have much in common with those guys. Him and Riley Green are buds. Of course it's going to make him feel more comfortable. And look, Torkelson isn't... He's not hitting, but that also doesn't mean he's striking out a lot. He's in the 82nd percentile as far as chase rates are concerned. So he chases around 18% of the time. Gets himself out of the strike zone about 18% of the time. Major League average is 28. So he's not striking out. He's striking out a little bit. He's just missing pitches. He's missing hittable pitches. There have been a few guys that have thrown him a fastball belt high right down the center of the plate, and he's missed it. He's just swung and missed. And we're talking 91, 92, not 98, 99. Maybe he gets his act together because one of his buddies is up there and he's comfortable again. Who knows? We'll be back on Sunday. It's going to be... The Tigers will have hopefully swept Arizona. We'll see what happens against Boston. I'm not really sure how to think about this Boston trip, but we'll have more on that on Sunday. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can at Podcast Tigers on Twitter. Tigers Baseball Podcast at gmail.com is the email address. Check us out on our YouTube channel. You can also check us out courtesy of Anchor on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Stitcher and Overcast and Downcast and Pocket Cast and all other podcast catchers out there. Breaker and you name it, we're there. And many thanks to Anchor for that. With that, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening, and go Tigers.